Hello friends, Hal here. Today we are going to talk about intervals again. And this time we're going to talk about inversions of intervals, and basically it's going to be the last video on intervals, so stay tuned. What we've done before is we talked about intervals in the sense of in the key of C. So we started with the key of C and we went from C to D and talked about a second, a major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave. So we talked about that in relation to the key of C. Now you can relate these intervals to any key, the key of G, the key of D, the key of A, the key of E. Those are the favorite keys that we love as guitar players. And what you have to do is you have to start on, for instance, if we were talking about G, you have to start on G and go from G to A, which would be the next note in the scale, is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and the octave. Now, let's look at the guitar and relate these intervals in relation to the guitar. Let me get my guitar here. And here we are. Now we're going to talk about the guitar notes. Okay, let's back up a little bit. In relation to the guitar, that note that's a C, okay, if we go up a second, we have to go up 2 frets, because on the keyboard we went up 2 frets. C, C sharp, D. And here we go C, C sharp, D, just like that. So there's our second. And then the third would be here to here. You'll notice that on the keyboard we skip 3 notes right there, right? On the guitar, we skip 3 frets, 1, 2, 3. There's our C, there's our E, and we skip 1, 2, 3 frets. Now, we can also play those 2 notes together like this. On the next string, 2nd fret, D string, just like that, right? Instead of playing it like that. It's harder to see on the guitar. I admit that. That's one reason why I studied piano. And I can see very easily exactly where those thirds are. That's a major third. Let's talk about the perfect fifth and the octave for a moment. If we go from C to G, here's C, and there's G. Now you'll notice on the keyboard we skip 3 black keys and 3 white keys. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So on the guitar we skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We skip 6 frets. It's the same idea. Now instead of playing those 2, if I want to play them together, I have to go to a different string. And what I do is I'm here on the 3rd fret, I go up 2 frets, over 1 string, and there's my G note. And that is a power chord. So if we engage the distortion on the that perfect fifth is the power chord. Now a lot of times what they'll do is guitar players will play the note right above the fifth. So it'd be that note right there. So it'd be 3rd fret A string, 5th fret D string, 5th fret G string. Let's take this down to the E string, the low E string. The C is found, that same C is found on the 8th fret right there. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit and show you this. I'm still playing 8th fret, 10th fret, 10th fret. what the advantage of this is that not only do I have the C there, but I also have the octave C right here, right? And then I have the G, which is the perfect fifth, which is the power chord. Now you can play a perfect fifth anywhere you want to. You don't have to play... Okay, let's just look on the keyboard just for a second. This is what I'm playing on the guitar. It sounds a little different on the guitar. Wouldn't you say? Now we can do this anywhere. It doesn't quite sound the same on a piano. Now we can do this anywhere. I can also play this power chord, this perfect fifth, on any note. I can go to the open E string, go up 2 frets, over 1 string. Now in a previous video we talked about this being like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, right? It doesn't matter what note you start on. Here's the 3rd fret E string. Go up 2 frets, over 1 string. So, right there. So any of those are perfect fifth. And when you add that little finger, 2 frets over, 2 strings over, it adds a depth to it. I'm going to turn off my distortion again, and now let's talk about this in terms of inverting that perfect fifth. What I mean by that is, take this C and put it on top. This was a perfect fifth. When you flip it over, it now becomes a perfect fourth. Remember what the songs are? Here Comes the Bride, or it becomes the theme from Star Wars, or it's also... Right? So the same thing on the guitar, it looks like this. You have your C, you go up 2 frets over 1 string, that's your perfect fifth. Let's zoom in just a little bit more and get a really close-up of here. I'm on the C note, A string, 3rd fret, go up 2 frets, over 1 string, like that. That's my perfect fifth. If I go up to the octave, which is that one, if I go from G to C, that's a perfect fourth. Right? So, perfect fifth, perfect fourth. So when we invert intervals, we get perfect fifth, perfect fourth. If we go up a perfect fourth, we get perfect fifth if we invert that. Major third, we invert it. Minor sixth. If we take the second and invert it, minor seventh. And there you go. Major sixth, we invert it, becomes a minor third. C to B is a major seventh. B to C, inverted, is a minor second. Let's do it the other way around. C to D flat is a minor second, and D flat to C is a major seventh. If you do the minor third, that's the major sixth. If you do a tritone, we didn't talk about tritone, let's not forget about tritone. If you go from C to F sharp, and then F sharp to C, that is also a tritone. It doesn't matter. When you flip it, it's still the same. That's the only one that does that. Minor sixth, major third, minor seventh, major second. So there we are. There's your flipped inversions of those intervals. Now, compound intervals are when we have, for instance, there's a major second, right? Well, what if you take that D up an octave? That is now a compound interval. When you go over an octave, let's say C to C, you go up to this D. Now, it's called a compound interval, and a second onto an octave is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's how we get 9. So we got a C9, that's a C9, right? 9, 10, 11, that's a C11, 9, 10, 13, there's your C13. Now, of course, you can fill in the notes in between if you want to, or you can leave some of them out. Anyway, we'll talk about that later when we talk about chords. We'll talk about the ninths and the 11ths and the 13ths and the 7ths. But you need to know about these intervals because they will help you to understand those other chords. Thank you very much for coming. Don't forget to check us out on other social media. We appreciate you very much. Hey, we're at 24,000 subscribers as of a couple of days ago. That's awesome. Take care. Bye.